My gut feeling is for Liverpool is that they need a bit more competition in the front third of the pitch.
Competition. So
Danny, can I add to that? Adam, can I add to that?
Of course.
I think the key, Danny, is what you're saying. You need somebody a bit more seasoned in there.
Yeah.
Someone who knows the ropes, because the level that Liverpool are at now, it's not a level where you're going to develop a youngster. You have to be kind of the finished article who knows your way around the Premier League. And unfortunately, Rhian Brewster, he's only had one season on loan. So he needs to be seasoned a bit more. Obviously, he has talent, or else he wouldn't be at the football club. But he needs to be a bit more seasoned. So that's why I believe they're going to loan him out to Sheffield United, Danny. So, that's another good move by Liverpool to season a good young player.
Is that the right move in the sense that if you stay at Liverpool, Klopp has got a good track record of developing young players. For example, Trent Alexander-Arnold will be the most recent addition to that list. If you look back at his time at Dortmund as well, Mario Götze and so forth. If you're going to want to be a Liverpool player, shouldn't you be trying to stay at the club to compete, at least appear off the bench on a regular basis?
Well, it's a good question you ask. I think it depends if you are going to appear off the bench and make enough minutes. Are you going to get 20 minutes here, 30 minutes here, 15, 22 minutes? Are you going to get those minutes? I'm not sure he will. I don't think he will. I mean, if you look at the way generally Jurgen Klopp makes his substitutions, in the last 2 years, if he's bringing youngsters on, it's for a few minutes here and there and not in massive games. I think it would be, for him particularly, and every case is different. I'd be contradicting myself a little bit if you listen to me talk about Foden, who I think is a different kettle of fish in some respects at City. But I think generally the way you learn the most is when you play in first-team games with pressurised situations and with crowds and expectancy. And I think you generally, not always, but generally I think players gain more experience from playing first-team football week in, week out, even at championship level, than even being coached every day by a brilliant coach. And I've always believed that about first-team football and young players. And we can see players even in the England squad now who've had many loan teams in the lower leagues.
What's the difference between Phil Foden, who's during his career has decided to stay at City in order to try and break into the team, and we are expecting him to appear more this season with David Silva having moved on now? What's the difference between what he's done for City and what Brewster could do for Liverpool in terms of staying or going on loan?
One of the main differences for me is that Foden's already at a level that Brewster isn't. So Brewster needs to get to the level what Kevin was talking about before, to be able to go into the first team, know his way around and be comfortable. Foden's well ahead in that respect. Forget minutes and how many first team starts he's had. His natural ability and his game awareness and intelligence is further ahead. So when he goes in and he plays his minutes, he's already in tune. He doesn't have to, he's got it. He's ahead. So that's the main reason I'd say I think Foden stayed, because in some ways he'd be going somewhere else and he wouldn't be learning anything because he's already so far ahead in his development. But we'll have to wait and see how. That's just an opinion. I think no two players' pathway is the same. It just never is.
Yeah, I guess, would you say, Kevin, it's fair that some players actually benefit from being out on loan? And again, there's no guarantee that you're actually going to play and be impressive and score 100 goals or whatever it might be by going out on loan. There are still no guarantees. That maybe some players are better suited to staying at their parent club and some players are perhaps better getting experience elsewhere.
Yeah, 100%. The loan system is a good system for quite a few players to gain experience. And as we keep saying, getting to learn your way around the football pitch. And here's the other thing that I think about the Foden and Rhian Brewster. They play in different positions. I think the way Phil Foden plays is perfect for him at Manchester City. He's training with these world-class players every day, and he's in a midfield where he's nice and interchangeable, and he knows his way around. When you play striker, it is a specific position that if you don't know your way around a football pitch, you are going to struggle. And at the top level, if you don't know your way around, you're going to struggle. So for a striker, you need to play. You need the minutes under your belt. in order to understand the position. Once Rhian Brewster understands the position, he can then start coming on and making a difference for Liverpool, because that's what Liverpool need. Liverpool need players. If they're going to come off the bench, they're going to make a difference. Origi has come off the bench, he's made a difference, but he knows his way around, he's played. Rhian Brewster has had 1 season on loan at Swansea, that's it. So he needs to learn the game a little bit more.
Danny, this question just popped into my mind, and it might sound a bit silly. Your career, obviously we know you very well from your time at Fulham and Tottenham and, of course, Liverpool, but you started out at Crewe Alexandria. Do you feel that if you had started, and no disrespect to Crewe Alexandria, but if you had started at a top 6 Premier League club like a Liverpool, that you could have been an even better player than you actually were, with the facilities and the personnel available to a top-tier club like that, as opposed to coming up through as a trainee at Crewe?
I don't think so. For me, no. I mean, it's a fair point, and I understand what you're saying. I was very fortunate because at Crewe they were very, very ahead of their time in terms of player development and the coaching. And it was also unusual in that it was a lower league team that played very good football and encouraged you to be free and express yourself and play and use your technique and play free. So I felt very lucky and privileged to be in that position and grow with. I learned a lot, by the way, playing against the lower leagues, the Darlington, Hereford, all those, Scarborough away, all those teams, the Carlisles of this world, going there and playing against a 28-year-old or a 31-year-old who's been there and done it, and being in a team where you play and enjoy yourself. So it worked for me. I actually struggled initially when I went to Liverpool to believe in myself around such quality and players I looked up to, like Fowler, McManaman, all those players. It took me a little while to actually believe in myself that I should be there. And I think maybe if I'd been there from a younger age, I wouldn't have had that. I wouldn't have been as in awe, maybe, is a fair point, that one of the points you're bringing up. But overall, for me, I think my development was enhanced by being in the lower leagues at a club like Crewe. Crucially, when you go on loan, it's about the manager and the type of team you go to. There's no point going on loan and sitting on the bench the whole year. Go somewhere where you're going to play and a manager gives you the trust.